If I gain the whole world and I don't have God, I've gained nothing. I was just on a walk and I was thinking about this thought, and I believe it's true. If you don't know me, if you don't know my story, I used to be a software engineer and I was making a lot of money. I had a great job, but I was so unfulfilled. I was so unhappy, and I was not the only one. When I looked around the room, people were showing up to work depressed. It was like this perpetual sadness on everyone's faces. I used to think that I was one of the happiest ones at work, and it's like, why is everyone so sad? What's going on? And I think we're all fed this lie that if we can achieve XYZ, status, fame, money, whatever it is, that we're going to become happy. And really, it's coping. It's coping for our existence and our inability to understand why all of this is here. Why does the earth even exist? Why does the universe exist? How am I here right now? What is my purpose? And society feeds us this lie that the grass is always greener. Shiny object syndrome. If I had this, I would finally be happy. And it makes me think God is the only thing that can satisfy fully. And every year that goes by, and my wisdom is increasing a little bit as I learn from my mistakes, I'm realizing that this is true. For my entire life, I've been chasing success. I've been chasing what everyone told me I needed to chase. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I actually think that's fine. But thinking it's fine. It's good to want to be successful. It's good to want to make more money or to achieve your dreams, to chase your passion. But what's not good is thinking that once you get those things, you'll finally be happy. It's going to leave you in perpetual sadness. And we see this time and time again when people sell their companies, multimillionaires, billionaires, athletes, and, people in Hollywood, people that win the lottery, they crash out. They realize that what they always thought would make them happy didn't satisfy. And I was thinking about this today on my walk because I'm building my own company. And, I got laid off from my job in software engineering, and I figured, okay, this is the perfect time for me to start building my company. This is something I've always wanted to do. I'm building a dating platform because that's what I feel passionate about. I feel super passionate about psychology. But it would be very easy for me to fall into this trap of like, okay, once I build this company, once I start making all this money, yada, 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 then I'll finally be happy. No. I'm learning how to find peace in the moment. Not living in the past, not living in the future. Living in the past, you're just perpetually sad about the things that have happened to you in the past. Or you're sad about the good things that happened in the past are no longer happening now. Living in the future is just anxiety. You're always thinking about the future, and it's going to leave you anxious. The Bible says, don't worry about tomorrow. Who has added a day to his life by worrying about tomorrow? Because tomorrow will have worries of its own. You can worry about tomorrow when tomorrow comes, not today. Today you worry about today. Today you do the things that are set forth before you today. And it would be very easy to fall into this, and perhaps you find yourself in this trap. Now it's like, oh, once I move to this place, or once I get married, or once I find my significant other, or once I build a family, once I get the dream job, once I graduate school, once I graduate college, the grass is never greener. you gotta find peace and fulfillment in the now. It's all about the journey, not the destination. There's an interesting thought on desire, which is we desire things because we don't have them, and the second we get them, we no longer desire them. And I think that's fascinating. I don't remember who, some philosopher came up with that, but in some sense it's applicable here. Kind of chasing the next, always chasing the next thing. We're chasing it because we don't have it, so once we get it, we're just chasing the next thing that we don't have. So we gotta slow down. Of course we should go out there, we should be ambitious, we should try to make money, we should go achieve our dreams and build wonderful things, do art. But we gotta realize that you can't find happiness. It finds you when you stop looking for it in the moment. Slow down, enjoy the present moment. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't forget the past, because history will repeat itself. Learn from the past, but don't dwell on it. And as I kind of deepen my relationship with God, my spirituality, my thoughts on philosophy, the universe, science, all this stuff, I'm learning. I need God. I need God. It's the only thing that puts all the pieces together. It makes sense to me. I want to live a life that glorifies my Creator. I want to co-create with the Creator. He's inviting me. He's inviting you. He's reaching out his hand, saying, "Hey, I love you. I've been pursuing you. I'm waiting for you to step into what I have for you." That's why I believe he's saying to me and to you. And that gives me a massive sense of joy, of peace, of fulfillment, of purpose, knowing that God has good plans for me. And he's actually inviting me to step in to the path that he has, that it's been waiting there all along. And that's why I think that you've got to build your foundation on something bigger than yourself. You've got to build your foundation on something that can't be taken away, your relationship with God, not the things of this world, not money, not women, not your career, none of that. And, it doesn't matter how much money you make. The love of money is evil. The love of literally anything, whatever you're chasing, if you create that to be your value, your identity, it's never going to sustain you. It's never going to fulfill you. So I'm reminding myself that as I chase bigger things and build this bigger life, God has got to come first. He's number one. He's number one above everything. And that's given me a lot of peace, knowing that I am loved, accepted, provided for, protected, and all that stuff. And that's giving me the strength to go forward and confront the things that I don't know how to do. It's giving me the perseverance to push through the unknown. Starting your own business is really hard. It's, especially if you have no idea what you're doing like I do. I think most people don't, if not everyone, when they first start, right? And there's a lot of uncertainty. You just got to push through. So as I remind myself that God has good plans for me, he's inviting me to increase my capacity. He's inviting me into prosperity. He wants these things for me. He just wants me to put him first. He's seeking me. He wants a relationship with me and with you. And that's what I'm learning. And when I look back on my life, the Bible talks about the narrow path versus the broad path. I think most people have heard about this concept. And unfortunately, most people are on the broad path just by definition. The narrow path, few go down. Most are on the broad path. And the broad path actually leads to death. And the Bible talks about this a lot. And in my head, when I used to read this, I was like, shoot, it leads to death, like I'm going to die. But that's not what it means, at least not fully. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to die, your physical body's going to die. It could be that, but it could also represent depression, anxiety, loneliness, sadness, all these isolation, these extreme negative feelings. That is death. That is social death, mental death, spiritual death, psychological death. You don't want that. And trust me, because I've been there, and it wasn't fun. It was not fun at all. I know that you have your own story, and you've probably been through a lot. But I would invite you to this idea of building your life with God. Go chase the things that you want. Go build the things that you desire. Go after the things that you desire, but don't make them the treasures of your heart. Don't place your entire self-worth in those things. Reach out to your Creator, have a relationship with Him. He wants to spend time with you. And there's a lot of peace. There's a lot of peace and comfort in that. So yeah, that's my reminder for myself today, and for you as well, that don't keep your eyes on the destination. You've got to enjoy the process. You've got to enjoy the journey, and you've got to build your foundation with God, and know that whatever it is you're chasing, it's not going to satisfy you. It's not going to fulfill you. You've got to find that satisfaction, that fulfillment in being a child of God, in the present moment of being here for a purpose, believing in something bigger than yourself. And Matthew chapter 5 says, seek first the kingdom of heaven, and all else will be provided for you. And I'm finding that's very true. If you don't know my story, I grew up very Christian, went to private school when I was a kid, and up until high school. And then I just kind of stopped going to church. My parents stopped forcing me to go to church, so I got to make my own choices. And just kind of slowly stepped away from the church. I went to college, lived a very worldly life. Life was going very well for me. You don't really need God when life's going your way. And when it all came crashing down, when that broad path led to my own death and destruction mentally, I became very depressed, very anxious, realizing that no matter how much money I made, nothing was going to fulfill me. I had everything. I had the relationship I wanted, the friends, the family, the support system, the money, the job. I had everything, but yet I had nothing. That's how I felt in the moment. And, God called me back home. And I found fulfillment. I found my purpose. I found my self-worth and value again. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Gain the world, but gain it with God, because the world is never going to satisfy you. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day.